Good morning. Alright, so we just got in another little tractor, and this one's, well, this is a very clean example of a little Ford 2000. And a cool little awning, and looks like a relatively new and comfortable seat. Yeah, good looking little tractor. And what's going on with it is right there. The PTO shaft apparently isn't working, and we're gonna have to figure out what it is. I'm just gonna throw a guess out there. It could be right, it could be wrong, but just to throw a guess, possibly the output shaft. Maybe it's broke. Again, that's just a guess. I'm not for sure. So we'll get it in, get it apart, and find out what's going on. Here we go. Alright, so the first thing we're going to do on this little thing is we're going to go ahead and drain the oil out of the diff, and then we've got 4 bolts that hold the seal that covers that shaft. Once we take that out, and maybe possibly a snap ring, that'll come off, and then we'll be able to see what shape that shaft's in. So let's get that out and see what's going on. Alright, upon an inspection of the PTO shaft, it's in good shape. So what that has us at is we're going to take off our step and then our inspection plate and have a look in there and see if it's going to be the shifting collar. And if it's not the shifting collar, then we got to split that dude way up here, because it's going to be the PTO clutch. So with that said, let me get this inspection plate off. Okay, so got the step and the inspection plate off, and try to keep my head back so you can see it. But there, see, this is your lever for your PTO, right? Okay, so that's it moving back and forth. Okay, so what we're gonna do is pull that out and have a look at it and make sure that it's in good shape, and see if our problem's there or if it's at the PTO clutch. Here we go. All right, I got the shaft coupler out. First, I'm going to show you the part that it actually connects to, which you should be able to see it down there. I'm trying to get it where you can kind of see the teeth, which you should be able to see them engagement teeth, and they're all there. At least they look like it to me. They look like they're in really good shape. And then here's the engagement coupler, okay? And as you can see, again, those teeth they look good to me. And of course, the spline, it looks perfect. So it sounds like we're gonna have to split this thing. So I guess I'll get set up and confirm this with Chris, and well, we'll get this thing split, change out the PTO clutch. Here we go. Okay, everybody, so after getting this little Ford back together, we had a little snafu with the hydraulics, so I figured I'd walk you through some steps to troubleshoot your Ford 2000 for hydraulic issues. So what you're going to do is you're first going to go to your hydraulic pump. It's there on the driver's side, if there is a driver's side of the tractor. If there's not, we'll call it the left side of the tractor. technically the right if you're facing the front of the tractor. But anyway, let's not get too technical. It's there, okay? So, if you have to split this tractor or for any other reason get into the hydraulics or say change the fluid, you might wind up in a position where you have to bleed it. Now, where do you go to bleed it? You go here. There is a bleed screw at the bottom of your power steering pump. Now, with that said, should you hook up an Allen wrench and back it off a little bit and try to bleed this out, and it doesn't bleed the way that it should, you probably have an air leak. Where would you find said air leak? Most likely it's going to be the left line, that push-in line that just pushes in. It has an O-ring, and usually if you won't pick up, that O-ring is probably bad. However, in the rare instance that that is not the case, what you are going to have to do, unfortunately, is drain your hydraulic fluid again, if you've already been into it again, and then you're going to have to find your big line here and trace it back and disconnect it. And when you get back there, you're gonna find a screen. You're gonna clean it because it's probably full. So that said, we're gonna get ours off, have a look, and see what's what. All right, this is gonna be a little bit more involving, so we're gonna have to pop the 3-point top off. Yeah, like we've done to several other Fords already. So with that said, let me get set up and we'll pop the top. All right, everybody, so I got our case cleaned out really good in the bottom of our trans tunnel, and that brings me to a couple of things. For one, is going to be your filter system. Okay, as you can see, it's rather unusual looking, and essentially, as you can see, it mounts kind of in this position, but needless to say, inside. So you're going to want to clean that out really good. And yes, that is a bypass valve here on the end. Now, the other part you're going to want to address is going to be the tube, because as you can see, it's got O-rings, okay, at both ends. Now, this O-ring at this end, which is going to be the bottom end, had a blowout, so it could have been bypassing from right there. With that said, once you have it ready, it's just going to drop into this hole. Now, something of note, you see that little metal ring? That's the stopper, okay? That stops it from going too far. You're going to want to make sure it's in the hole down there, and then push it all the way in until it hits that metal stop, okay? And that's what it's going to look like afterward. It's going to protrude a little bit. So, alright, I'm going to go ahead and get my filter back in. So, and then we'll be ready to put our top back on and fill this thing back up and see what happens. So, alright, oh, and we also had to put our valve back in the bottom, because I pulled that valve out of the bottom, which goes essentially straight up right here, okay? And then, let's see, I think we'll wait to put the step on until after we know the hydraulics pump again and the seat. And once I know my hydraulics work, then we'll finally be able to get back to testing the PTO again. So with that said, we'll get it set up for time lapse, and we'll get this going. Yeah. Alright, once you have your pump off, you're going to want to score you a line, alright, on both sections, all three sections, so that you know where they're clocked, so that you can get them back in the right orientation. Trust me, it matters. So with that said, I'm going to go ahead and score this on time lapse and then disassemble it. We're going to find out where the problem's at. Alright, so this is what everything's going to look like once you have everything tore down. You really don't need to tear anything down any further than where I have things right now. You don't want to disassemble the head, okay? You do want to pull your plungers, make sure they're free. And I'm sure you can see the check balls. There's 6 of them. Put it over a rag, turn it upside down, push the balls out, and then check your holes for obstructions. If you don't find any, clean your check balls up. Do a little cleaning on them holes if you need to, and then reinsert your check balls. And then after that, you should be able to reassemble. So with that said, we'll put it back together. Okay, everybody, it is the next day, and I took that pump back off after trying to bleed it yesterday. It started to bleed, and then it stopped. And I thought, that's weird. So I went ahead and took the pump off, and what I found was, it looks like it had sucked a foreign piece of debris up and just shredded it inside here. I mean, I had all kinds of particulate in here, and as a result, I had a little bit of damage that I wound up having to deal with. This is, of course, essentially your waffle piston that the other portion kind of turns this at an angle. But anyway, this Torrington bearing was supposed to go on there, but whenever it sucked that piece of debris up, what had happened was it had caused this right here. There was a little bit of damage on this lip right here, and there was just enough buildup that our Torrington bearing wouldn't actually slide on anymore. Now, as you can see, our Torrington bearing certainly does slide on, as it should now. So that's got that resolved. I think that part of the pump will be fine. And also, and these are things that all could, by the way, be why your pump isn't working if you're having pump problems. The edge of each one of the pistons, for whatever reason, it had pressed a little bit of a lip on them and mushroomed them. So what I wound up doing was taking them to the bench grinder, cleaning them up a little bit, and then finishing it off with the old file until these would pass. And when all of these pass smooth and easy through, then you should be theoretically in good shape. So now that we've got that resolved, I'm gonna get the pump back together. Let's get it back on the tractor and see if we can bleed it. So here we go. All right, everybody, just off camera, we went ahead and got our cutter hooked up and threw this thing on here and made sure it would run. As you can see, everything's doing just as it should now. So everything's in good shape. So with that being said, that's gonna wrap it up, folks. Thanks for watching Lewis Equipment. We will see you in the next one. Hey everybody, thanks for watching.
Please subscribe and hit the like button.
And don't forget to share and hit that notification bell.